right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sergeant Ryan Cook, and I am the Public Information Officer for our Media Relations Unit for the City of Tempe. Today is an exciting day. By way of introduction, the people to my right, I have Chief Ken McCoy, Chief of Police for the City of Tempe. To the right of him, County Attorney Rachel Mitchell for Maricopa County. To the right of her, Assistant Chief James Swig, the Assistant Chief over Criminal Investigations. And to the right of him, Commander John Giltinan, Commander over our Criminal Investigations Bureau. Today you will hear a couple statements from Chief McCoy as well as from County Attorney Rachel Mitchell, after which we will then field some questions for you all. Chief McCoy.
Thanks, Ryan. Good afternoon. We are here today because of some tremendous police work. Yesterday, our Tempe police officers arrested 60-year-old Jeffrey Michael Kelly in connection with 3 incidents of shooting at the Democratic National Committee offices here in Tempe. Our investigators also observed Kelly posting anti-democratic signs in the area near his home in Ahwatukee, attaching clear plastic baggies containing a white powdery substance labeled biohazard. Kelly was arrested without incident on several charges. Those charges include 3 counts of a terrorism act, 3 counts of criminal damage, 2 counts of shooting at a non-residential, and 2 counts of unlawful discharge. There may be additional charges in reference to the white powdery substance attached to the political signs. This is still an active investigation, but for the past 5 weeks, our detectives have worked around the clock, running down every lead to solve this case. Ultimately, it was a silent witness tip that the public provided that helped us identify this suspect. This is proof that community involvement and engagement helps make our city a safer place. I would like to thank those individuals for stepping up. Let me be clear. Justice does not have a political party. The Tempe Police Department will uphold the law and protect everyone, no matter their political affiliation. There is no place in the city of Tempe for political threats or intimidation. Arizona is in the national spotlight right now. All eyes are on us. Our department recognizes the significance of this arrest, and we want to reassure our community that when you go to vote over the next 13 days, we are committed to keeping you safe. We are monitoring intelligence and working closely with our public safety partners to keep you safe. Here are some of the details of this case. The first incident. On September 16th, we responded to the DNC office located near Southern Avenue and Priest Drive for what appeared to be damage from a BB gun to the front of the building. Investigators estimated that over 10 shots were fired into the front doors and windows. The investigation revealed that the shooting took place just after midnight. Nearby cameras were checked at the time, and no real leads were established. The second incident. Exactly 1 week later, on September 23rd, at nearly the same time, at the same place, more shots were fired into the DNC office. This time, the situation escalated to the use of real bullets. When employees arrived at the DNC office, they observed and reported criminal damage to the front windows and office signage. About 6 shots were fired. Video surveillance from the inside of the office showed the shooting occurred about 12:35 a.m. Video surveillance was a critical piece of this investigation, allowing our detectives to identify a silver Toyota SUV, which was seen leaving the parking lot a minute after the second shooting. The third incident. 2 weeks later, on October 6th, again, shortly after midnight. A glass break alarm was triggered to the front windows of the DNC office. Our officers arrived within 5 minutes and located 3 bullet strikes to the front of the building. The same silver SUV was seen on video in the parking lot. It was after this third incident that we collaborated with Silent Witness to offer a reward for relevant information. Thank you to the media who helped get the word out and share our pictures of that SUV. This played a key role in our investigation. Community members remembered Jeffrey Kelly from a 2022 incident where he was involved in stealing Democratic campaign signs in that same silver SUV. Less than 24 hours later, our investigators acted on that tip. The Tempe Police Department was able to positively identify Jeffrey Kelly and began active surveillance on him. Finally, later this week, late Monday into Tuesday morning, our investigators observed Kelly posting anti-democratic signs in the area near his home in Ahwatukee. He attached clear plastic baggies containing a white powdery substance labeled biohazard to those signs. Yesterday, we took him into custody, thankfully without incident. Right now, I want to speak directly to those who would consider using political violence or intimidation to disrupt our upcoming election. We will hold you accountable and use every resource available to us to bring you to justice. To the citizens of Tempe, if you see something, say something. We encourage you to reach out to Silent Witness, where you can remain anonymous. We hope that people can find civilly ways to solve their differences, and that the days leading up to our election and beyond are peaceful. I would like to thank you all for being here, and I would like to extend some time to Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell.
Thank you, Chief. First of all, let me start off by conveying my appreciation to the hard work of the police department. Having worked many times investigations with Tempe PD, I know the tireless dedication that your officers and detectives have always shown. I also want to convey my appreciation to the citizens that participated in this investigation, and also, as Chief McCoy indicated, to the media for helping with the investigation by getting information out there. As public servants, it is our duty to uphold justice and democracy. This means speaking out against political violence and those who seek to intimidate or harm voters or people who are participating in the political process. This is the second incident I've talked about today involving an individual targeting people in our communities. Often, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office and law enforcement are seen as responsive agencies, but in this case, thanks to the work of the Tempe Police Department, this individual was stopped before he could cause greater harm to the community. The defendant had his initial appearance today, and our office was present for that initial appearance. At that hearing, we requested a $1 million cash-only bond. As most of you know, that means that he would have to post the full amount before being able to be released. The judge set a $500,000 cash-only bond and also ordered electronic monitoring should he be able to post that. Now, the chief has already delineated the counts that are going to be submitted and considered by the charging attorneys in our office, so I will not go over those again. But I will assure you this, we will carefully review this case and make appropriate charging decisions based on all of the facts and evidence submitted. And I want to be very clear as the Maricopa County Attorney. Threats, intimidation, or violence toward political officials, no matter what party they are a part of, are completely unacceptable. These actions create fear, and they weaken the trust in our elections. and frankly, they weaken our system of democracy. We will not tolerate attempts to intimidate anyone involved in the process. Those who engage in political violence or try to interfere with elections or discourage people from participating in the political process will face serious legal consequences. We will aggressively pursue prosecution to protect our democracy and our democratic process. Thank you.
We now have some time to take some questions related to the case.
Could either of you speak to the circumstances of the arrest and the reason for the $1 million attack on the Justice Act?
Sure. Whenever we're calculating what to ask for in terms of bond, we're looking at a series of things. We consider, for example, the likelihood that the person will appear at trial. We look at the seriousness of the offense, whether the person is facing mandatory sentencing, which of course could encourage them to not show up. So all of those things go into it, as well as any sort of history that we have on the individual.
But in this case, it seemed like there was discussion in the court hearing about imminent threat.
Those are some examples, yes, and that would be another example as well. Thank you.
County Attorney Mitchell, I had a question for you. This morning, the prosecutor at the INA said that, quote, state and law enforcement believe that this person was preparing to commit an act of mass casualty. I want to know if there was any other indications that you guys found in your investigation indicating that he was going to commit something, or is this simply like a prima facie sort of assumption based on the number of rounds that was found at his home?
Without going into further detail into what we've found, obviously that type of, those numbers of guns as well as those numbers of rounds are certainly a factor that you would consider.
Can you say when you might be able to know when that white substance is and what those charges would be if it was something that wasn't really hazardous?
I will let the chief address that.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for that question. So that is still part of our ongoing investigation. So again, that is continuing. We're evaluating that along with all the evidence that was seized from the home. So more charges are pending, the outcome of that investigation.
At this time, do you believe that he was working alone, or do you have any belief that he could have been working with anyone else?
So again, we're exploring all possibilities. We're continuing our investigation. For now, we have charged him with the actions of shooting the DNC. But again, additional charges may be forthcoming, and we're still investigating his connections and involvement with others.
Well, while you're there, Chief, the circumstances of the arrest, there was discussion of a grappler being used?
Yes, we utilize a grappler, which is a device to immobilize vehicles to prevent pursuits. So we were just preemptive with that to ensure we were able to safely apprehend him.
You mentioned that community members remembered him from an alleged incident a few years ago. Can you speak more as to what that incident was and if he faced any charges with that?
Sure. So a couple of years ago, he was suspected of stealing Democrat campaign signs throughout the city, Ahwatukee. And he became under suspicion for that and was identified as the person involved in that activity. I don't believe charges were filed against him at that time, but thankfully, the citizens who remembered that incident saw our call for assistance and reached out to us, and that was a critical piece of information that helped our investigators solve the case. Our investigators have been working on this tirelessly for 5 weeks, and that was a critical piece that helped us put it all together.
Again, you see him put the signs or do the powder on the signs he's putting up. Then the next day, you have a grappler to arrest him. What was the reason for the grappler? Did you think he had guns and was on his way, as the document said, to do something at that night, at that time?
So again, this was an ongoing investigation. We had established probable cause that he was our suspect involved in shooting the DNC offices. Our team was surveilling him and observed him placing signs around the community. And it was that later that morning, they moved in to apprehend him.
His incident starting with the initial BB gun escalating to the actual bullets followed by the signs. I mean, this was clearly an escalation. How critical was it that you caught him yesterday when you did before, luckily, anybody was hurt?
Yes, you make a great point. There appears to be an escalation here in his behavior and activity and the frequency that he was out and about in the community. So I'm grateful for the diligent work of our team, being able to put all this together. I'm thankful that the community came forward with the tips that helped us finalize our investigation. And then we were able to move in and apprehend him without there being any violence, without anyone from our community being harmed. And again, we're continuing our investigation to see if we can learn if there were, any additional things he planned on doing. All of that's part of our investigation right now, but we're thankful we were able to intervene and prevent this from escalating any further than it already had.
First incident, BB gun, second, third were firearms. Can you elaborate on what caliber those were, and if those caliber were also found in the residence?
Yeah, so that's still part of our investigation, the calibers that were used and any evidence that was seized from his vehicle and from his residence. That's all part of our ongoing investigation. We're going to be doing some ballistic testing and so forth. So I can't really go into the details of that right now.
Is Tempe doing ballistic testing or the feds?
So we're working with our partners, and we are also utilizing the Mesa Crime Lab for ballistic testing.
Would you be comfortable listing those partners, FBI, Police Department? Who exactly is involved in that?
Right now, I'm not at liberty to discuss all the agencies we're working with, but we're working with, local, state, and federal agencies.
Why did it take so long to solve this? I guess, after the initial two shootings, I guess, you guys had no other leads except for the vehicle description, and were there no other people come forward?
Right. So, again, video surveillance was a key piece of this investigation. However, with the video, the video was not able to give us a identification of the actual shooter, and it was the images of that vehicle that we shared with the public that really led to our first real lead. And it wasn't until the third incident that we got good enough video that we were able to share that image. And we shared it, and the community became engaged immediately, providing us with some very useful tips that our investigators immediately ran with. We're able to identify the suspect, and again, worked to the point where we were able to safely apprehend him.
We have time for two more questions, folks.
I really apologize because there was no place to park when I got here, and it took me 10 minutes to find a place to park where I'm being towed. So I did not hear, did he have his first hearing today, and is that where the bond was set?
Yes, he did, and the bond was set, I don't know.
$500,000 cash.
Sorry,
That was set at $500,000 cash only bond.
500.
And electronic monitoring in the event he is able to make that bond.
Do you know that his attorney's name?
Not at this time. I'm not sure that that's been,
Private public defender, or you don't?
I'm not sure that that's been settled yet.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Again, at the hearing, they discussed weapons being found in the car. Did the Tempe Police Department know that was the case when they stopped him? Or were you surprised that there were weapons inside the vehicle?
Oh, no, we were not surprised that he was armed. Not surprising.
To
So,
that extent?
I'm sorry, we weren't surprised. Okay. Again, I want to thank you all for being here. As I stated earlier, political violence, threats, intimidation have no place in the city of Tempe, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that there's a safe election for all of our citizens. So again, thank you for being here.